This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
And more best bets. Game 3 tonight, NBA Finals. We go out to the Progressive guest line. Nick Whalen, kind enough to join the program from RotoWire, does a great job Monday through Friday with Jeff Erickson here on VSiN. They host a show called Prop Points, and it's at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Hey, Nick, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing great, guys. Doing great. It felt like we should have had a finals game last night, but the wait was worth it. Very excited to get back to it tonight.
Yep, totally agree. Okay, so here we go. Game 3 tonight. Money on the Spurs, by the way. Nick's on to 1.5 point favorites. Total 216.5. You do have a prop that you like involving Victor Wembanyama. What is it?
It's one that I've been playing for multiple games throughout these playoffs. It is the over 1.5 steals for Victor Wembanyama, which is, of course, not typically what you would think of with a guy like him who's known for his shot blocking, but he's gone over this number in 4 of his last 6 games. He has at least 1 steal now in 9 consecutive. This cashed in game 2, and we haven't really seen much of an adjustment in the price. I mean, this is more about the value to me. I saw this as long as plus 178 at FanDuel earlier today. It was plus 174 at DraftKings when I threw it on the card for our show earlier in the afternoon. So to me, this should be, I don't know, plus 130, plus 140. Again, I think a lot of people probably aren't betting it because everybody wants to run to the points or the rebounds or the blocks for Wembanyama, but he's going to play a ton of minutes. He gets a ton of deflections. He gets his hands on balls around the rim. So that is what I have on the card for Wembanyama.
That is a great look and a good observation. It's hard to find on the apps, and those pay big. Brunson had 5 last game. 3+ was 12-1.
Oh,
think about that. So Bridges and Towns are playing so well that we're forgetting about what OG's doing. How about OG PRA tonight?
Yeah, that is another one that I played in game 2, guys. We had it at 21.5, just a slight adjustment to 22.5 as the default number across the board. Over 22.5 at minus 104. I will take that. Something that's important to note as we get deeper into this series. There's been a lot of talk of, okay, does Dylan Harper need to play more minutes for the Spurs? If so, where are those minutes coming from? The guy who's been hurt on the Knicks side of things, because they're getting such great contributions, not only from the role guys in the starting lineup, but from their bench players, it's been Josh Hart. He was the guy who saw his minutes slashed in game 2. I'm not really worried about that with Anunoby. I'm not worried about it with Mikal Bridges. Those guys, they need the size, they need the length, they need the shooting from both of those two. So I think this could be another spot where we see Anunoby push to at least 37, 38 minutes, maybe 40 plus, depending on game flow. And again, he went over this number in game 2, only took 10 shots, had 4 rebounds, 3 assists in 37 minutes. I think the rebounding is what I would look at and say, okay, he was a 6-7 rebound a game guy earlier in the playoffs. Obviously, it's a difficult opponent in San Antonio, but if this is a spot tonight where we finally see Karl Anthony Towns either take a step back or get into foul trouble, that's where I think we could see Anunoby more involved on the board specifically. So to me, still a very doable number at 22.5.
Yeah, very good. Paulie and I were talking about this already on the show here today, Nick, and that is the leader in the series for most threes. Shamit's 1 back right now, and he's like 10-1 still at DraftKings. It was 14-1. What do you make of Shamit tonight?
Yeah, there are a couple 3-point props I would look at with the Knicks, including the over 2.5 for Landry Shamet. Put that down at plus 195.
Ooh.
Last night. He's gone over this number in 4 straight, 6 of the last 7. Now, he is, of course, shooting at an unsustainable level, but we're getting to a point now where this sample is spanning 7 games. It's spanning multiple series. He's 21 of 31 over his last 7. 18 of his 31 looks have been wide open. I mean, despite the Spurs knowing exactly what Landry Shamet wants to do when he's on the court, the Knicks are still finding ways to get him open. So I'm going to keep riding it at that price, almost 2-1 for the over 2.5. You got to lay a lot more if you like the over 1.5, but Shamet continues to be dialed in. I think he's playing with a ton of confidence, and he's on the short list of those role players who you'd think, he's already shooting it great on the road. He'll probably continue to shoot it well at home.
And who's the other guy then that you like tonight for threes made overall?
The other one is Jalen Brunson, guys. He's gone under in crushing fashion in each of the first 2 games. The attempts have been there.
Yeah.
The handicap is basically, look, Brunson's not going to be able to get to his same spots. He's going to have to settle for more threes. That's exactly what's happened. And he's gone, I think, 2 for 8 and 2 for 9 in the first 2 games. But look, I think the Spurs are succeeding in turning the New York Knicks into a little bit more of a Brunson-centric offense than they would like. He's taken 56 shots. He has a 39% usage rate through these first 2 games. That is not ideal if you're the New York Knicks, especially when Brunson's shooting it at 33, 34%. If you're the Spurs, I think you're wondering how is Brunson producing like this, and how are we down 0-2 in the series? But I think that volume should continue, at least from three. Again, he's not going to be able to get to the rim at the same clip as he was, earlier in these playoffs against inferior defenses.
Sure. So then based on what you said, like looking at the MVP market overall, he is still the short shot on the board. Brunson is. I think we can all agree that if the vote had to be in tonight and the series was over with, we think that Karl-Anthony Towns would win, and he should probably be like the consensus winner. But you have to forecast like what's going to happen on the court, but also good luck handicapping the voters as well. So what do you think of the overall market at this point, Nick?
Yeah, it's really interesting because this was one of those markets where you had an obvious guy on either side, right? And Wembanyama, despite being down 0-2, is still short of 4-1 to win Finals MVP. So if the Spurs come back, it's obviously going to be him.
Yep.
I'm totally with you. I think if this was a 3-game series and the vote happened after game 2, it might be unanimous in favor of Karl-Anthony Towns, but we still have at least 2 more games. Jalen Brunson has had some huge moments in the clutch, but a lot of these voters are smart. They know Jalen Brunson is not shooting it very efficiently. The volume has been super high in this series. I think the edge for Karl-Anthony Towns, if you do want to bet into that market, is that one, he's been great offensively. He's been super efficient. He's been better than we expected on that end. And he also has the defensive argument. Like Jalen Brunson, he had some steal numbers in game 2. We all know he's not a plus defender. He's not shutting anybody down on that end. If this series, if the Knicks win it in 4 and Karl-Anthony Towns plays like he did in game 1 and 2, even close to that offensively, and Victor Wembanyama continues to struggle, I think that's the narrative that you have to cling to is, not only is Towns being great offensively, he also is limiting Victor Wembanyama and, has a huge edge defensively as far as his impact in the series.
Totally agree. He's got to get it. And it also helps that on every halftime show, Barkley is pointing out how great he's been in arguably the 2 best games of his career, right? What a 180 with this guy.
Yeah.
2 years ago, he was terrible.
Well, no question. I mean,
sorry.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, it's almost a kind of a reverse narrative that we didn't expect to be part of this discussion. And, to be fair, he does have to kind of pry it away from Jalen Brunson, who came into the finals as the incumbent, right? It's his finals MVP to lose, but you could argue with, how inefficient he's been. Maybe he's on the track to doing that. But you're right. I think Towns kind of reversing the narrative on his career, reversing the narrative on the type of player that he is, that absolutely feeds into this as well. Last thing I'll say, guys, on Finals MVP, keep in mind, I believe it's a panel of just 11 voters for this. So you get some inherent variance. You don't have a sample of 200 people voting on this. It can be a little bit dicey from that perspective. But as of right now, I think it has to be Cat.
I would absolutely agree with everything that you just said. What about the point spread now down to 1.5 at many books? Total still available at 2.6. Some books have moved to 215.5. Others are out there at 216 or 216.5. Both games under so far in the series. Any opinion on side or total?
Yeah, side is really tough for me. I think I'll just end up playing the Knicks if I do take a side. I was on the under in game 1, which ended up coming through. I did not make an official play on the total in game 2. I would be ready to lean over. The pace is actually faster than both of these teams have played throughout the postseason. Now, neither team has shot it well from the field, particularly 2-point range. The Knicks shot it well from 3 in game 2, but I don't think the defense is necessarily going to fall off as we get deeper. San Antonio especially has so many great perimeter defenders, but at the same time, you would expect Brunson to be at least a little more efficient going forward. The Knicks have shot around 41-42% as a team so far in this series. That should improve. San Antonio, Wembanyama specifically, have not been great offensively. So it's a little bit of lazy analysis, but if you like the over, I think the narrative that you're clinging to is, okay, the pace is where we want it to be. These teams are just not converting shots at nearly the rate that we would expect so far.
Yep, very good. Follow Nick on X. He's at Whalen, but it's WHA, the number 1 EN. The 1 is in place of the L, obviously. Does a great job Monday through Friday with Jeff Erickson here on VSiN. Their show is called Prop Points at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Awesome stuff, my man. Thank you. Best of luck tonight.
Same to you guys. Thank you.
Yep. Join us here on the Progressive Guest Line. I think it's right. It's Brunson. It's Cat first. Then it'll come down to what Brunson does. What about if Bridges goes nuts again tonight?
He's got a case.
He's
been awesome.
In one more really good game tonight, he absolutely, you would have to think about the guy.
Defense, they were hunting Brunson down the stretch.
Yes, they were.
That's a big reason why the 14-0 run happened. So he's an excellent player, but what Towns has done containing Wemby, even with the foul trouble in game 2, got to be Towns.
I'll have a lot more on this coming up in the third hour of today's program.
I remember we started the season talking about that and showing videos, how there was something wrong with his shot.
He had a hitch in the giddy up.
Yeah, right.
Yep. He changed everything.
Yeah. He's been awesome, much like the whole team, since they were down 2-1 against Atlanta.
I think the biggest stretch of the game on Friday night, end of the third quarter, Wemby's on the court, Bridges was on the floor for the Knicks, and not another starter. It was all bench players, and they outscored San Antonio 8-3.
Yes.
That's what I think won them the game. Massive moment there. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, win some, lose some. This happened for the first time since 1990. And Paulie will tell you about all the huge bombs that cashed over the weekend. Coming up next.
Let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that almost feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit's due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles. And when there's a good game on, you're getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. There's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on the annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, back to the show.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
The menu at Paulie Market's incredible. World Cup, Game 3 tonight, economy, weather, finance, mentions, it's all up there. They let you get in and cash out whenever you want. No waiting for the final buzzer like traditional books, and grab a free $50 to get started with promo code BUZZ. Code BUZZ at Paulie Market. Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Go get it. Code BUZZ at Paulie Market.
You have to get the app for your phone because you're adding another out then, obviously. And their menu is as good as it gets. So there you go. We head out here to the Progressive Guest Line as a lifelong Knicks fan, season ticket holder for 40 years, professional sports bettor right down the street from Madison Square Garden with 3 tickets in hand for tonight's game. Paul Bovey joins the program now. Hey, buddy, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm actually about 20 blocks away, and this is year number 39. So
39.
Long-standing, long-suffering, but here we are.
Now, we're going to find out what you're going to do with your tickets coming up in 15 minutes. I have not been to the city in a long time. How long does it take to walk 20 blocks?
Well, when I was 30, I used to jog it in about 6 minutes. These days, I amble along down the street, 15 minutes,
Okay.
It's not a bad walk at all. But, as we discussed on the break, there are perimeters to be dealt with here. So I'm not sure how long it would take to walk to the Garden.
Okay.
It is incredible what's going on at bars as well. I've watched multiple reporters say it's elbow to elbow at every bar, and it's not even close. Wasn't like this when the Yankees were in the World Series.
Crazy.
This is a whole nother level with the Knicks in the finals, how crazy it is downtown.
Yeah. You have a very strong position before the series started on the Knicks, and you told us about that when you joined the show before the series started. Have you done anything since? What would your advice be to people who maybe want to dive into the series beginning tonight?
Well, I dove in and I laid 391 on the Knicks to win the series. And there was a reason for that, because when I was on the show last week, I did mention Knicks for the series plus 1.5, minus 121 to minus 125, and plus 2.5 games. And I erred using the terminology free money, which I should never use in sports betting, but I did. And I took it back, but it turned out to be pretty solid. So a prohibitive financial potential burden was lifted when the Knicks now covered the 2.5. And that, in addition to the win, I basically parlayed onto the 391. So that's where I'm going with it. I still have confidence in the Knicks. And unless the Spurs take 4 straight games, which is unlikely, I'll cash on the plus 1.5, which will further expand my bankroll. So that's where I sit right now. I'm comfortable with the position, and I do feel that Knicks will eventually prevail.
Paulie wants to go in, and he's going to bet Hart under points yet again. He hasn't done anything in terms of that stat category so far in the series.
3 points in the series.
Think about that for a second.
But great on the boards and assists.
Yeah, he's filling it up everywhere else.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with Josh Hart tonight?
So, all right. So the number has moved to 8.5, and I sent you guys the ticket because I got 7.5 on the rebounds. Hart's problem isn't rebounding. He's become a foul magnet, which is surprising because he averaged only 2.5 personal fouls per game during the regular season. He has been the best rebounder this series. He has collected 21 of them in 45 minutes. Now compare that to Wemby, 21 in 78, and Cat, 25 in 68. So he's trailing Cat by 4 rebounds. He's played 23 less minutes. And if you go out and project this into the games this year that the teams have played head-to-head, Hart, 39 rebounds in 104 minutes, Cat, 57 in 159, and Wemby, 53 in 162. He's the best rebounder. Well, close. Actually, Cat is better by decimal points. So Hart, over 7.5, stay on the court. You shouldn't have any problem. This is an aberration to him having foul trouble, which has limited his minutes, 28 in game 1, 15 rebounds. In the second game, 18 minutes, and he collected 6. So I'm going Hart over on the rebounds, and I'll lead into this. He's worth a flyer at 10-1. He trails Cat by 4. He's been head-to-head with Cat in terms of rebounds per minute. In this series, 1 every 2.1 minutes. In the games they played, 1 every 2.66 minutes. Cat, 1 every 2.56 minutes.
You can find 16 at DraftKings, by the way. That's a bigger number. You also were on and gave out Fox assists to lead for the series. He was excellent in game 2. He is now down to 2-1 to lead the series in assist. What do you think of Fox the rest of the way?
Listen, him and Josh Hart are tied for the lead at 10. So the fact that I played Josh Hart also rebounds and assists over 12.5. I sent you guys the ticket. This kind of works as a hedge. Not that either of those two guys are locked in to lead. They're not. You got a few guys at 8. I think you got one at 9. I think Brunson's at 8. Castle's at 7, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I'm going to throw Hart's assists out there, by the way, because he has 32 in the last 6 games. So he's averaged 5+. But the minutes, again, the last 6 games, only 28 minutes on average. This guy, when the game is close, 2 games against Philly, one decided by 6, the other, I believe, by 14. He was over 40 minutes per game. Same trend against Cleveland. He's over 30. So if you get the 30, 35 minutes, man, you should get the assists as well. So rebounds, assists over 12.5 looks good to me on Josh Hart.
Great breakdown.
Very good.
Yeah, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional sports bettor Paul Bovey, also season ticket holder to the Knicks for 39 years now. We'll find out what he's going to do with his tickets coming up in the next 7-8 minutes here on the program. He'll join us for another segment. Overall, what do you make of the point spread now? Down to 1.5 at some national sports books. 2.5s are out there still. as this winning streak is now 13 games, dominating teams for the most part overall, winning both as a 4.5-point dog and then a 6.5-point dog. And the total is 216.5 after both games went under the total the first two games.
I think it should be 1.5 to 2.
Okay.
And I know I listened to the beginning of the show and you guys touched on it. The Spurs had the lead, 104-102. Knicks close out 3-0, win the game by 1. And in the prior game, the Spurs had the lead and got outscored 11-0 over the last 216. So it's just a matter of finishing. And that's why the Knicks have that 2-0 lead, because experience has definitely played into this. We touched upon that last week, and I'm sure you guys made mention of it several times. And, these teams are fairly evenly matched, or so it seems, but the Knicks are getting the better of it down the stretch as expected, but the Spurs could break through at any moment. I think the number is right, and let's face it, if the Knicks win this game tonight, it's lights out. 3-0 is a death sentence for the team that's trailing. So, backs against the wall. Let's see what happens.
We've mentioned several times the pressure that's on the Knicks players, and will they be tight? And maybe the fans are like, oh, no, here we go again if they happen to blow this. I know they won Game 1 and Game 7 in OKC, but how about this environment for a young San Antonio team? I mean, this is going to be a top 3 sports atmosphere ever, what were we witnessing tonight?
Absolutely, but I think there's pressure on both teams because the Knicks at home, I've seen this movie play out, and sometimes they feel the pressure. You got all those eyes, all those celebrities. There'll be more out in force tonight. So there's pressure on both teams, and it remains to be seen how the Knicks stand up. And as the game goes on, they'll ease into it, but the first quarter could be interesting.
Yeah, you're right. And I haven't done it yet, but I kind of want to bet San Antonio in the first quarter just based on that. The idea that the pressure could be overwhelming out of the gates for the Knicks.
I think so.
I know. I'm throwing darts here, but it kind of...
Well, you wonder about the crowd, though, too. The game's going to start late, and then I got to sit in line and wait for a couple hours.
Yeah.
That's going to take a lot out of it. It's a long night now.
Well, let's ask Paul about this next again. From the area, from the state. Lifelong Knicks fan. Has had season tickets for 39 years. This is comes down to, what do I do with my tickets? Heart versus head. What am I going to do? Some financial advice here, I think, next here with professional sports bettor Paul Bovi.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome aboard to Poly Market. Great to have you here on the show and on the network. They let you get in and cash out whenever you want. No waiting for the final buzzer like traditional books. Grab a free $50 right now. Get started with the promo code BUZZ when you go to Poly Market. Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Professional sports bettor and season ticket holder to the Knicks for 39 years. Paul Bovi still on the program, and he is on the Progressive guest line. He is, again, right down the street from Madison Square Garden. He told me over the weekend, in fact, I think it was yesterday afternoon, Mitch, I'm not selling. Okay. Do you still have that opinion? Are you going to go to the game tonight? What are you doing, buddy?
Mitch, I'm selling. Okay. You know what? As you get older, you gain wisdom, you gain wealth, you gain life experiences, but you relinquish certain things. And one of those things that I relinquished is patience. When I walk into the post office and there's more than 3 people online, I make a beeline out the door and I'll say I'm going to come back. The other thing is my ability to tolerate large crowds. So henceforth, given all the whatever that's going on around the Garden, I'm just going to opt out tonight. Aggravation is going to come at you, but I'm not going to be the one to trigger it. So I gave it to my partner. I told him to sell it. Whatever it sells for, great. But I'm not going. I'm going to sit down at a bar, have a beer or whatever, and just enjoy the game. I'll go to game 4.
I wish you would have came to that conclusion earlier, because the get-in price after game 2 to get into game 3 was over 10 grand. And then Tim Bontemps from ESPN, his friend, has tickets at the top of the lower bowl. He sold 2 of them for $25,000. Oh. So you got good tickets. So to amplify it more, 30th to 35th Street is blocked off, and 6th to 8th Avenue is blocked off. And this picture here, because Darren Ravel said, if you're not in line by 7 p.m. Eastern, you're gonna miss the first quarter. This is the media line to get in.
Oh no,
through
thank
security.
You.
Imagine what it's going to look like when all the fans get there.
You know, I'm lucky. I got to do a lot of things pre 9/11, and things changed after that.
Uh-huh.
So went to many Super Bowls. It was easy in, easy out. But also getting out of there tonight, that's in question. How long will it take?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want any part of this. So, hey, whatever they sell for, they sell for. It didn't mean anything. When I had intended to go to the game, it was inconsequential. I just wanted to be there. What they sell for now to me is inconsequential. Whatever happens, happens. Let the chips fall where they may, and let the Knicks win.
Well, what if they win then?
Yeah, you're going to go to game 4?
I mean, these are
I'm going to game 4. Okay. I'm going to game 4.
No,
and by the way, I don't have all 3 tonight. My partner has 2 of the tickets tonight, and then I had 1. And then I have 2 tickets to next game, and he has 1.
Okay, so is your partner going with those 2 tickets tonight, or is he selling all 3?
I believe he's going, and I just told him to just get rid of my ticket.
Okay.
These are going. The games in the Garden are going higher than every Super Bowl except
I
once.
saw that.
Isn't that something?
That's absolutely.
And then those courtside seats that they auctioned off went for over $1 million.
Who are you taking to game 4?
I was wrong. I mean, at least I came under. I wouldn't have busted out, but I think I said on your show $500,000. And as it turned out, they went for $1 million.
Do you know who you're taking to game 4 yet?
I don't know. I'll be scouting around for one of those 20-year-olds you guys were referring to.
That's a strong move. That's a strong move. You can pull that off. Take a first day. Let's go to the next game.
Yeah, lock it down immediately.
The interview process will start tonight.
Okay, anyway. Good job. This is a good tweet that we got from the Butler Did It. Yeah. There is a watch party tonight, Bryant Park. They just moved it. The Knicks would absolutely be rock stars for the rest of their lives, and real Knicks fans like me are nervous that the bottom is going to fall out. We remember the Yanks-Red Sox debacle. Uh-huh. Is there any part of you at all, Paul, that falls into that same boat as him?
I try to stay positive, Mitch. Yeah, I can't say I don't think about the repercussions if we do blow this, but at this point, it's ours to lose, and I'm just hoping for the best.
Well, 93 was bad, up 2-0 against the Bulls. They let that get away. We know what happened in 94.
That was awful.
I know. So that's why it's kind of interesting if they fall behind what it's going to be like, because it's like, oh no, could we possibly blow this? Before the break, you had a quote I've never heard before. You're concerned about the bandwagon Barneys, you call them, and all the Johnny-come-latelys jumping on the bandwagon. This was last week. Linda Cohen from New York.
They come out, they come in bunches, and they cannot be controlled. And that's how I feel with the Knick fan. I think a good percentage, sadly, of the, quote, fans you see now are not real Knick fans, not the loyal kind. Hey, even the young guys like the famous Timothy Chalamet, he's a loyal Knick fan, okay? But not all celebrities are like that. Ben Stiller, a loyal Knick fan. But these guys that are out but let's not typecast, let's not label. There are a lot of Knick fans out on the street who can afford a ticket to get into one of these games, not the average human. They're out there, they're in the streets, they're just excited. So I'm not labeling all of the guys and gals you see on the New York City streets fake fans, but there is a percentage, anywhere from 10 to 45% are fake.
45 fake? What do you say, Bovey?
Well, it sounds like she's bothered by it. I'm not bothered by it. It's kind of like the Kentucky Derby.
Huh?
You know, it's amateur hour, man. I mean, but let everybody have fun. There's a lot of fact, or should I say, some fact and a lot of fiction out there. And that's part of what happens when you have a winning team. Hey, look what it did for the Cowboys back then in the 90s. All of a sudden, everybody was a Cowboy fan. Then you had the Warriors, and everybody's piled onto the Warriors worldwide. So it's inevitable. So this will increase our fan base. But yeah, there'll be a lot of, as you call it, Mitch, fugazis out there, and there are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to do tonight. I want you to go to a whatever bar you're closest to. They're all going to be super popular tonight. And I want you to demand them to put on the Yankees game and cause a
I'm
huge
not
scene.
going to do that.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody does that. Okay?
Yes.
There are a lot of Yankee fans.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Yankee
Yeah.
fans here. Now, the World Cup is in town, and I don't think all these guys are basketball fans. So you could have some unusual requests on this night. So you never know what you're going to get hit with.
Sure.
All right.
Very good, my friend. Stay safe. Good luck, Game 4. And thanks for a few minutes. It was fun.
Will do, guys.
Okay.
Take care.
Appreciate you,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time, but he's out of his mind that he doesn't think fatigue can play a role with Wemby. It's 4 series. He hasn't played this much basketball before.
Yeah, right.
There's clearly something going on with the low energy and not grabbing rebounds. Can you imagine what they're charging for a beer? These bars?
Or
it's
whatever, whatever you
can name
want.
your
I mean,
price.
sure, $27 for a beer.
Yeah, right.
Sure, I'll pay that tonight. Yeah. Did you
elbow
see-
to elbow coming in.
Wemby was in a park.
Yeah,
did
he was
you see
painting.
this? He
Yeah, I
was
saw he was
painting
painting.
today.
Yeah.
Now, Wemby, because of the height, being 7'5",
Yeah, dead giveaway.
how many people are more recognizable than him in New York City right now?
Yeah,
Is he number one?
gotta be.
Or does it go Trump 1, then Wembanyama number 2? He's 7'5".
Yeah.
Every single human being with a pulse is going to know who that guy is. And he's in a park sitting down making a painting today, or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. I like that he's doing that.
Yeah.
He's also had some really good sound bites. I mean,
He
he's-
does.
Yeah, I mean,
That was great that they were on this high and it was hard to come down after they beat the Thunder.
yeah.
That was good. And we're young. We don't know it's a gift to be here and it's hard work. We expect to be here every year. That was another great quote,
Yep.
what he said.
Yeah,
That
and
that-
He talked about after game 2, like we have to stay composed. We are not poised in these spots.
Yep.
And that's exactly why I think they've lost both these games so far.
I see that's another reason to dial up the pressure on the Knicks. You're not going to get a better situation. Boston might trade for Giannis. OKC's going to reload. Spurs are going to be better. This is all the fans are going to be thinking if they blow this.
Let me
tonight.
ask you this.
I mean,
Somebody put that, I don't remember who it was, but somebody put this like, this is likely the one time that Brunson and the Knicks will get to the finals. And that kind of makes some sense. Like, it's not easy to
Yeah.
get here.
it's been a historic run. Nothing to take away from them.
No,
But
absolutely nothing.
You didn't see Boston, but certainly these teams are probably going to be stronger next year and in the future. That's possible.
Yeah, we're coming strong. Do you concur next? No apologies if you can't handle it. The NBA Finals would have a different feel under a couple of scenarios. With all of that said, it's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great time of year. Icing on the cake begins this week. We get the 2026 World Cup underway. And to talk about it, we go out to the Progressive guest line. Adam Zadroik joins the program now. RotoWire Soccer. Follow him at RotoZadroik, ZDROIK. Adam, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, super busy.
I'm sure.
Everyone needs their World Cup analysis here. We're a few days out, and it's just ramping up a little bit more now that United States is finally in the World Cup again.
Yep. Okay, so we'll get some futures coming up in a second. Let's begin with the lid lifter to the tournament, if you will, and that is Mexico taking on South Africa on Thursday. This has a 3:00 Eastern start time, noon out here on the West Coast. What do you make of this match and the numbers that you saw for it?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to be all over Mexico here. This is just a completely weird spot for South Africa to be playing in Mexico City in the opening match. These teams played 2010. South Africa got a point from that game. It was the Vuvuzela World Cup where they got the opening goal, ended up 1-1. A little different situation here. Mexico City, Mexico, just a better team overall. South Africa didn't really have to play much to get into this spot, into the World Cup. And they are a pretty big favorite. You could take -1.5. You could take Mexico. I kind of like Mexico over 2.5 goals as well. I think they're going to score. This is going to be a second half where South Africa may be getting a little tired just dealing with the Mexico City elevation a little bit. So I'm all over Mexican props as well, over 5.5 corners for Mexico. You could take Raul Jimenez to score a goal. His odds are actually pretty good considering that Mexico are such a big favorite that you can get in some places maybe +150 for Raul Jimenez to score. That's Mexico's starting striker. So I like the odds there. Usually if you have odds like that and a starting striker, it's usually closer to even odds. So that one kind of stood out to me.
Good find by you. What do you think the ceiling is for Mexico in this tournament?
The ceiling, I think it'll be interesting because there's a chance if they get in a certain spot in their group, if they win their group and England win their group, there's a chance in the round of 32 or maybe the round of 16 that they would play England in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. So that would be, I think, just an ugly game where Mexico tries to just muck this thing up, make it a little dirty. They're in Mexico City, try and go for like a 1-0 kind of win there. I think that game could be interesting. I'm not sure. I'm going to pick Mexico to beat England, so probably the round of 16 is where I'd be looking at, but I wouldn't say England are guaranteed to win that game if that's the actual matchup there.
Okay, this is intriguing. Let's go to Group F. Tunisia to lose all their group matches. Take it away, please.
Yeah, I looked at this one about a week ago. Then they had a friendly where they were just absolutely dominated late last week. And you just look at Group F, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden. I think you could look at them and say, yeah, all these teams are noticeably better than Tunisia. Tunisia is another team. I look at these teams that, kind of played weaker teams to qualify, didn't really have to do much to qualify to get into the spot. Now that we have a 48 team Team World Cup. So Sweden, you're playing against a lot of studs, Isak, Gyökeres, guys from the Premier League. Netherlands, pretty standout team. Japan play well together as a team, even if they don't have all the standout players as some of the other teams. So I just don't think Tunisia are very good. And I think at a minimum, those other teams all are going to be fighting for wins and know that is the one game they need the 3 points in if all these teams want to advance, which I think is going to be very possible from Group F.
Very good. Some other futures here. You have 3 teams to make the quarters, including 1 long shot. Who do you like, and what kind of odds are we talking about here for these 3 clubs?
Yeah, my favorite thing to look at because, some of the odds, if you bet on Spain or France, some of these teams to actually win the World Cup, you're getting +400, +450, +500 for a team to win 8 games or 5 games in knockouts, which is okay. Not my favorite thing, but at some sites you can parlay quarterfinal bets. And a couple of mine, I just want to focus on what do the best routes look like. So a couple of teams, Argentina, Portugal, we'll take it to say, okay, they're going to win their group. And if they win their group, they're in just better situations of playing either third place teams or runner-ups on their way to the quarterfinal. Both those teams are roughly about even odds, a little better than even odds, which is why I kind of pinpoint in those teams instead of like the Spains or Frances, because you're getting minus odds in those. And personally to me, those ones just aren't as fun to bet on. So I like pointing out the routes that these teams are going to get. Argentina and Portugal, if they both get to the quarterfinal after they win their group, they could be playing each other. The other one of my more upset picks would be Netherlands to make the quarterfinal. And they're in an interesting situation. They had a couple of injuries last game. One of their stud wingers actually got hurt on Sunday. So that one is kind of a blow. But I think overall, Morocco is a team that plays well together. They made the semifinals 4 years ago. They played well in AFCON and Africa in that cup. And I think overall, they just have a team that's maybe not a bunch of A-level players, but I think a really good B-level players that play well together. And sometimes that's kind of all you need in the World Cup. And I think they have their first games against Brazil. I think they can get a point out of that. I think that there's a real chance that they could actually win that group. And even if they don't, I still think it's a winnable section. If they get second place in that group, they could have to go through Netherlands. That'll be an interesting game if it happens. But Morocco would be about plus 400 odds, depending where you look, to get to a quarterfinal, which I think is just pretty good odds. Given that I think Morocco, I think you could consider them maybe, I don't know if this is, over exaggeration, but I think they could be a top 10 team if just looking at the World Cup. I know the odds don't say that, but me personally, just the way that they play, I think that you could argue they're a top 10 team. Okay.
And then what about Spain? Obviously dealing with at least one key injury here heading into the tournament, obviously. But I know that they were, if you go back a month, maybe more than that, they were along with France, and the odds would reflect this, but everybody who I talked to was like, yeah, Spain's the best team in the entire world. Where are you at with Spain going into this thing?
I think Spain is just the most consistent team. And we have France, maybe the most talented attack, and obviously they're the other favorite that everyone's kind of talking about. They still have some questions with there's stuff going on with them of teammates telling Mbappe to play a little more defense kind of a thing and weird stuff like that. And the big thing for Spain with Lamine Yamal, seems like he's going to be healthy. He's going to be ready for the first game. Probably not going to start the first game, but they're going to ramp his minutes up a little bit following a muscle injury. So their best player, stud teenager, he's going to be ready. And you look at Spain's run, assuming they're going to get first place in their group, I think they have a pretty favorable run in their first group. And then going to knockouts, one of the other teams in that region, if Belgium finished first in their group, would be Belgium, who I don't think are actually very good in terms of that. So I think just overall in terms of the bracket, getting Spain to the semifinal, and I know it's not my favorite thing, just plus 100 on Spain to get to the semifinal, because again, this is a lot of games in a row and you're only getting even odds on it. But Spain, solid defense, probably arguably one of the best midfields of the World Cup, and Lamine Yamal and a bunch of goal scorers around him, pretty standout squad. That's going to be tough for them to actually get knocked out once it gets to those stages. So I think their run's pretty good, and even odds to the semifinal, I'll take Spain.
Anybody for the Golden Boot?
Golden Boot is a little tricky, and we have these injuries. Lamine Yamal's odds have dropped to plus 2,200. It was one I was kind of eyeing a little bit because he started at plus 1,400. Then this injury kind of took over a little bit. If you actually want to go to Spain, one of their guys, Mikel Oyarzabal, is plus 1,400. If I'm on Spain, he has a potential to get a hat trick in the first game against Cape Verde. He was their leading scorer in the qualification stages as well. So just another player that maybe he was initially overshadowed in the odds because of Yamal, but throwing the Yamal injury of where Yamal's not going to be playing or starting the first couple games, which are, arguably the easiest games for Spain. So you can look at that plus 1,400 if you like Spain. If you like France, maybe an upset pick instead of Mbappe at plus 600 would be Dembele. Francis Ford at plus 2,500. So you could look at a couple routes like that. I don't usually like picking some of the favorites. That's kind of why I mentioned Dembele over Mbappe.
Fair enough. Adam, great job. Everybody can follow you on X at Roto Zdroik, ZDROIK. Does a great job with RotoWire. Thanks so much for the time, and best of luck for the tournament. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
He was on the Progressive guest line. Polymarket lets you get in and cash out whenever you want. So that can be very key, by the way, with the World Cup. If you're talking about maybe some middle chances, you want to do over-unders, whatever it is, you get a team with a lead, bada bing, bada boom, no waiting.
No detector.
There you go. Yeah, 53rd minute, cash out of that bad boy. Unlike traditional books, grab a free $50 to get started with the promo code BUZZ at Polymarket. Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. It's here Thursday now all of a sudden. We'll have a game when we're on the air. The Mexico game is going to be on live.
Great menu, great markets, everything from own goals, penalties, scoregamis. Oh, it's fantastic.
We will recap our best bets from the weekend and tell you what we've added for tonight and upcoming events as well. This is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.